Secure 5G networks will absolutely be a vital link to America's prosperity and national security in the 21st century. 5G networks will also create astonishing and really thrilling new opportunities for our people. The race to 5G is a race America must win, and it's a race, frankly, that our great companies are now involved in. We've given them the incentive they need. It shows you how unpainful that vaccine shot is, so everybody go get your shot.
It works incredibly well, 95%, maybe even more than that. It works incredibly well. It's a great vaccine, it's a safe vaccine, and it's something that works.
I recommend you take it, but I also believe in your freedoms 100%.
When you have the vaccine, people that do, and it's a very small number relatively, but people that do get it get better much quicker. And it's a very important thing to know. They don't get nearly as sick, and they get better. Lindsey Graham's an example. He said, if I didn't have this vaccine, I would have died.
And you know what? I believe totally in your freedoms. I do. Bree, you got to do what you have to do. But I recommend take the vaccines. I did it. It's good. Take the vaccines. But
link to neurodegenerative disease, myocarditis, Bell's palsy, liver disease, impaired adaptive immunity, impaired DNA damage response, etc. So it's possible, in fact, it's looking likely, that the vaccine might suppress the immune system. This fact, the authors concluded, will, quote, have a wide range of consequences, not the least of which include the reactivation of latent viral infections and the reduced ability to effectively combat future infections, end quote. Now, again, we sincerely hope that's not true. But it's not just the conclusion of one scientific journal. The Lancet, maybe the most famous scientific journal in the world, released similar findings in February. The Lancet's piece was entitled, quote, Risk of Infection, Hospitalization, and Death up to 9 months after a second dose of COVID-19 vaccine. A physician called Kenji Yamamoto made this observation about the data from the Lancet. He wrote this in a letter to the Journal of Virology, and we're quoting, the study showed that immune function among vaccinated individuals 8 months after the administration of 2 doses of COVID-19 vaccine was lower than that among the unvaccinated individuals.
I'm the father of the vaccine because I was the one that pushed it. I would recommend it, and I would recommend it to a lot of people that don't want to get it, and a lot of those people voted for me, frankly.
Welcome back to Biospiracy. So today is going to be a very exciting compilation of Vax Daddy shilling out for the big pharma companies. Well, you might know Vax Daddy as President Trump. You might be waiting for him to come back and save the day. And I don't want to be a Debbie Downer here, but it's a little disappointing that so many people are still falling for that shit, honestly. I mean, I don't mean to insult anyone, but you can see that the elections are rigged. But have you ever considered that these two political parties themselves are rigged from the inside? They're never going to let somebody like Ron Paul ever get to the top. They're going to actually rig it. We saw them rig it to where Ron Paul wasn't even allowed to speak at the convention after he won the 7-state minimum. They just bumped it up to 8. Later we found out that he won more than 8. There was a lot of corruption there that was uncovered, and they denied admitting that he had won Iowa. Up until that point, anybody who won Iowa won the whole thing. Well, they waited months and months and months and months until after that election was over and said, oh, by the way, he actually did win it. They canceled the last debates where it would have just been him and the mainstream guy that they wanted. Why didn't they let Ron Paul in? Why didn't they let him even have a chance to speak at the convention? Oh, that's right, because he was anti-war. He wanted to shrink the size of the federal government. He was a threat to the system. The system doesn't allow threats to win. Do you understand that? They've got too much on the line. These corporations, these power players, do you really think that they're going to let you win that easily by just voting your way out? Do you see how they have us on every level, how they're able to manipulate the population? how they got the entire world to go along with a bullshit vaccine, a bullshit mask mandate, lockdowns. Do you see how pretty much everywhere in the world was subjugated on some level? But you think you can just vote your way out. Well, I don't mean to be all dark and cynical here, because I do believe there's hope. You know, when a population of rabbits, when there's just tons of them and they're just going all crazy and they're not paying attention anymore because there's just so many of them, is it hopeless when foxes start to enter the meadow and start to eat them? No, because eventually the foxes will have their fill and the strongest of the rabbits will survive, and the smartest. And then they'll emerge much stronger and healthier, and they'll continue on until they get too many and too chaotic, and they lose their sense of self-preservation. And is it going to be the end of the foxes when they run out of the abundance of rabbits because they ate too many of them and now there's too many foxes to feed? No. The smarter foxes are going to either find new places to hunt, or they're going to outcompete the other foxes, and the foxes will continue on. Some will die. So it's not the end of the world that we're up against. We're just up at a certain point where a lot of people aren't going to be able to make it. And it's very sad and it's very tragic, but instead of moping around and trying to make sense of this system that doesn't make sense, instead of trying to play apologetics for these false Christs like Trump, who are clearly career pricks, instead of backing those people, why don't you back your own family, back your own communities, build strong alliances, find good places to go, places of abundance, and skip out on all the chaos that's about to happen. Anyway, done with my rant. Let's watch the Trump compilation, shall we? I mean, the Vax Daddy compilation.
The President and I want to wish every American a very Merry Christmas.
During the sacred season, Christians celebrate the greatest miracle in human history. More than 2,000 years ago, God sent His only begotten Son to be with us. An angel announced the birth of our Lord and Savior to humble shepherds. He said, "I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all of the people. Today in the town of David, a Savior has been born to you. He is the Messiah, the Lord. You will find a baby wrapped in clothes and lying in a manger." At Christmas, we thank God for sending us His Son to bring peace to our souls and joy to the world.
As you know, this Christmas is different than years past. We are battling a global pandemic that has affected all of us. Yet, through this great challenge, we have been inspired by the kindness and courage of citizens across this country. Teachers have worked extraordinarily hard to keep our children learning. Students have delivered groceries to elderly neighbors. Communities have found new ways to stay connected to one another. Courageous first responders, doctors, and nurses have given everything to save lives. Brilliant scientists have developed treatments and vaccines.
We are delivering millions of doses of a safe and effective vaccine that will soon end this terrible pandemic and save millions and millions of lives. We're grateful for all of the scientists, researchers, manufacturing workers, and service members who have worked tirelessly to make this breakthrough possible. It is truly a Christmas miracle.
During this wonderful time of year, we also give thanks for the brave and selfless Americans who keep us safe. We are forever grateful for the men and women of law enforcement and the heroes of the United States military.
In this holy season, we thank God for His infinite love, and we pray that the light of His glory will forever shine on this magnificent land. On behalf of Melania and the entire Trump family, we wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
is brought to you by Pfizer.
The vaccine is one of the greatest achievements of mankind. We would have had in 1917, remember the Spanish flu, killed perhaps 100 million people. Actually, it ended the First World War because the soldiers were so. A lot of people don't know that. The soldiers got so sick. It was a terrible thing. There were no vaccines. There was no anything. I came up with a vaccine, with 3 vaccines. All are very, very good. Came up with 3 of them in less than 9 months. It was supposed to take 5 to 12 years.
And yet more people have died under COVID this year, by the way, under Joe Biden, than under you. And more people took the vaccine this year. So people are questioning how...
Well, no, the vaccine worked, but some people aren't taking it. The ones that get very sick and go to the hospital are the ones that don't take the vaccine. But it's still their choice. And if you take the vaccine, you're protected. Look, the results of the vaccine are very good. And if you do get it, it's a very minor form. People aren't dying when they take the vaccine.
CBS Health Watch, sponsored by Pfizer. Anderson Cooper 360. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Remember, we took care of a lot of people, including, I guess, on December 21st, we took care of Joe Biden because he got his shot. He got his vaccine. He forgot. It shows you how unpainful that vaccine shot is. So everybody go get your shot.
It works incredibly well, 95%, maybe even more than that. It works incredibly well, and I would recommend it to a lot of people that don't want to get it, and a lot of those people voted for me, frankly. But, again, we have our freedoms, and we have to live by that, and I agree with that also. But it's a great vaccine, it's a safe vaccine, and it's something that works.
I recommend you take it, but I also believe in your freedoms 100%.
When you have the vaccine, people that do, and it's a very small number relatively, but people that do get it get better much quicker. And it's a very important thing to know. They don't get nearly as sick, and they get better. Lindsey Graham's an example. He said, if I didn't have this vaccine, I would have died.
And you know what? I believe totally in your freedoms. I do. Bree, you got to do what you have to do. But I recommend take the vaccines. I did it. It's good. Take the vaccines. But no, that's okay. That's all right. You got your freedoms. But I happen to take the vaccine.
ABC News Nightline, brought to you by Pfizer, making a difference.
The vaccines do work and they are effective. And here's my thing. I think I saved many, I saved millions and millions of lives throughout the world. We could have had another Spanish flu. We could have had, in 1917, close to 100 million people died, they say. But it was really bad. And now other countries are using our vaccines, and they're tremendously successful.
You're playing right into their hands when you sort of the vaccine. If you don't want to take it, you shouldn't be forced to take it. No mandates, but take credit because we saved tens of millions of lives. Take credit. Don't let them take that away from you.
Okay, so the president made news.
Do you agree with that? Right?
Both the president and I are vaxxed, and did you get the booster?
Yes.
I got it too. Okay, so...
Don't.
Brought to you by Pfizer.
CNN Tonight. Brought to you by Pfizer. Early Start. Brought to you by Pfizer. Friday night on Aaron Burnett Out Front. Brought to you by Pfizer.
I have really good news. Today our nation has achieved a medical miracle. We have delivered a safe and effective vaccine in just 9 months. This is one of the greatest scientific accomplishments in history. It will save millions of lives and soon end the pandemic once and for all. I am thrilled to report that the FDA has authorized the Pfizer vaccine. We have given Pfizer and other companies a great deal of money, hoping this would be the outcome, and it was. On behalf of the American people, I'd like to thank all of the brilliant scientists, technicians, doctors, and workers who made this all possible. Pfizer and Moderna have announced their vaccine is approximately 95% effective, far exceeding expectations. These vaccines are also very safe.
Brought to you by Pfizer.
American citizens participated in clinical trials that were far larger than normal and had no serious side effects. The dedicated and independent experts at the FDA meticulously studied the results of the trials, and it has now passed the gold standard of safety.
This Week with George Stephanopoulos is brought to you by Pfizer.
Through Operation Warp Speed, my administration provided a total of $14 billion to accelerate vaccine development and to manufacture all of the top candidates in advance. This included a nearly $2 billion investment in Pfizer to produce 100 million doses of their vaccine, with an option to produce 500 million additional doses. And I'm proud to say that we have made sure that this vaccine will be free for all Americans. Through our partnership with FedEx and UPS, we have already begun shipping the vaccine to every state and zip code in the country. The first vaccine will be administered in less than 24 hours. The governors decide where the vaccines will go in their state and who will get them first. We want our senior citizens, healthcare workers, and first responders to be first in line. This will quickly and dramatically reduce deaths and hospitalizations. When the China virus invaded our shores, I promised that we would produce a vaccine in record time before the end of the year. They said it couldn't be done, but with today's announcement, we have now achieved that goal. The United States is the first nation in the world to produce a verifiably safe and effective vaccine. Today's achievement is a reminder of America's unlimited potential when we have the will and the courage to pursue ambitious goals. As I've said from the beginning, a vaccine will vanquish the virus and return life back to normal. The pandemic may have begun in China, but we are ending it right here in America. Operation Warp Speed is the greatest medical manufacturing endeavor in American history. We are deeply grateful to every person who has worked round the clock on this monumental national project to save lives. Thank you all for your tremendous gifts to humanity. God bless you, God bless the United States of America, and God bless the world. Thank you.
Out Front, brought to you by Pfizer. This Week with George Stephanopoulos is brought to you by Pfizer.
This weather report brought to you by Pfizer.
Let's talk about COVID, because Operation Warp Speed is one of the positives from the administration, and you've brought up the need for vaccines. You've actually told people to get vaccines. I'm just curious. I got the Pfizer vaccine. Which vaccine did you get? Have you shared that with us yet?
Well, I got the Pfizer, and I would have been very happy with any of them. I thought a very bad statement was when they did a pause on Johnson & Johnson. I think that frightened people. That was a bad thing to do. At that time, when they did the pause, they had 6 people that may have had some difficulty out of millions that received it, but I think the pause was a very bad thing to do.
Mr. President, you've talked a lot about the good state of your health, and I'm curious, would you get the booster shot?
Well, if I felt it was necessary, I guess I have sort of a double vaccine because, as you know, I had it, recovered from it pretty well. I don't think I had it like the press, like the media said. You know, they would try making it difficult. Not pleasant, but I had it. I recovered. I, in addition to that, got the shot. I mean, I'm somebody that tells people I'd like to see them get it. I also want them to have their freedoms, etc. But I got the double shot. And if I felt that it was necessary, and let's see where this whole thing is going, I mean, I was surprised. I thought it would have been gone long before now. You know, you don't hear Biden being criticized for the fact that this thing is lingering on in some cases, you know, numbers that are very, very large.
It is, Mr. President, it is lingering on. But when I mentioned you had said to your supporters, get a vaccine, some of them booed. And the current data shows us that it's the unvaccinated that are contributing to why it's lingering. What do you say to those people?
Today's countdown to the royal wedding is brought to you by Pfizer.
And now a CBS Sports Update brought to you by Pfizer.
Well, you know, it's interesting. When I was president, everybody wanted to get the vaccine. Everybody. There was a rush to get it. You didn't hear anything about mandates. You didn't hear anything about, oh, gee, people don't want to take it. After I left, people don't want to take it. And it's very interesting. And I think it's because they don't trust Biden. They don't trust the administration. As you know...
you don't think it's misinformation about the vaccines?
Vice President Harris made some very nasty comments, and I think maybe people took that seriously, what she said. But, you know, I think they hurt the vaccine. Now they're trying to get everybody to take it. But I will say, and I think you'll agree, when I was president, there was a rush to get it. Everybody wanted to get it. It was only after that you started to hear this.
Meet the Press Data Download, brought to you by Pfizer.
This portion of CBS This Morning sponsored by Pfizer. On how to find the hidden sugars in the American family diet. Sponsored by Pfizer.
I would have put a warning on or something on just that particular vaccine, but I certainly wouldn't have paused it and gotten front page news all over the world, and then people don't want it. And it probably even affects the others because, there's a big situation with a lot of people don't want to take the vaccine. Well, this played right into their hands. And they want me to do public service messages and everything about everybody taking the vaccine. And look, I guess in a certain way, I'm the father of the vaccine because I was the one that pushed it. To get it done in less than 9 months was a miracle. Fauci said it would take 3 to 5 years. He thought it was something that just wouldn't be that effective because it would take so long to get. I pushed the FDA like they have never been pushed before. I wouldn't exactly say they're in love with me. They have never. This is a very bureaucratic organization. I pushed them like they've never been pushed before, and that's why we have it. When they did the pause on Johnson & Johnson, I thought that was a very, very stupid thing to do.
Would you recommend to our audience that they get the vaccine then?
I would recommend it, and I would recommend it to a lot of people that don't want to get it, and a lot of those people voted for me, frankly.
Chama ela.
Mãe? Tá acordado? Não é mesmo? Muito bem. Café. Quer café?
Tomou café. Já tomou café já?
Já tomou já.
Não, tava lá, tomando. Você tomou, filho, aqui perde a memória, entendeu?
Mãe. Pai, ela tá muito quente. Mamãe.
Hey, Many Fish. It is the 8th of August, 2021. 8-8, and I pray you're all well. Appropriate number for Donald Trump, who just came out and was proclaiming how 100 million people may have died without Operation Warp Speed, which, remember, is ongoing, as well as the National Emergency Declaration. You are under FEMA and the UN, incidentally. But what I wanted to make clear was, remember the program for the logistics of Warp Speed that runs alongside of it called Tiberius. Yes, Tiberius is the middle name of Captain Kirk. However, it was also the name of the ruling emperor of Rome during the time of Jesus' ministry and crucifixion. Think about that.
will you be able to bang your fist on the table and say what happened to that shipment that was going to Good Samaritan Hospital in Baltimore?
Yes, and not only that, I'll know after it gets there how fast they're administering the doses that they were given.
Byrna's ability to do that depends on a software program called Tiberius.
What's your worst nightmare?
We get vaccines to the American people and they don't take them. Shame on us. Hey, I was already sick. I don't need it. Shame on us. Hey, I don't believe in vaccines. Shame on us. Just shame on us. And it does keep me up at night.
This is what our former president has to say. He's very proud.
They should get the vaccine. I hope they do. Again, they should get the vaccine. I hope they do. Again, it's something I'm very proud of. I think if we didn't come up during the Trump administration with a vaccine, you could have 100 million people dead, just like you had in 1917. You take the Spanish flu, 100 million people, up to 100 million people died. I think we'd be in that territory. This has been great for the world.
Remember, friendship with the world is enmity, hatred towards God. Choose this day who you will serve.
Somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it.
Why do you still do it? Why are you still out here?
Well, it goes back to the destiny thing. I made a bargain with it, a long time ago, and I'm holding up my end.
What was your bargain?
To get where I am now.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
with the chief commander.
On this earth?
And on this earth, and then in a world we can't see. And on this earth, and then in a world we can't see.
If you don't know Jesus, get a Bible. Ask him to reveal the truth that he is to you. Your choice will become much simpler when you're reborn in the Spirit of the living God. It's the only way. God bless each and every one of you. Peace and grace to you. Benny Fish.
You made me a socialite with a long string of pearls, but you'll have to serve somebody. Yes, indeed, serve somebody. Well, it may be the devil, or it may be the Lord, but you'll have to serve somebody.
Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord, and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God.
This going on while the Hunter Biden laptop has now been exposed for exactly the crime scene that it is, and they're still going after Donald Trump, who wants to destroy the New World Order. I mean, I had Alex Newman on. He says, I know you would disagree about the shots and all that, but boy, he was taking a sledgehammer to the New World Order. He got us out of the Paris Climate Accord. He got us out of who?
Well, but wait a minute. He put $10 billion into a military program to depopulate Americans. Come on, Greg. I'm going to be a tough guy about this.
Do you think he was told the truth, though? I mean, Birx came out on Fox and said, I always knew the mRNA injections would not offer, much protection against infection. She came out and said that, and Neil Cavuto's like, you can Google this.
So if you look at the history of what is known, it takes 10 to 12 years to test out a vaccine to make sure it's safe. Everybody knows that. Come on. So... No,
you actually think Donald Trump actually knew, hey, we're going to depopulate and murder off a bunch of people? See, I don't. I think he was lied to, and he missed this. He knows now. He knows now. That's
if there was one person who understood how dangerous vaccines are, that was in political life, it was Donald Trump, because this was a big issue during the campaign. And he made a big issue about, the dangers of vaccines. So he knows.
So you think he knew ahead of time? You think he knew going into it that we're going to depopulate people? See, I just don't believe that. I think he knows now. I think he definitely knows now, which he should. Which I'm pissed that he's not coming out.
So
stopping
I'm just going to be a tough guy, because
Okay.
I knew the injection program stunk. I knew it was dangerous, and I knew there were different nefarious agendas that could go on. And I said to people, as soon as the virus started, or as soon as they claimed there was a virus, because I think it was more than one thing going on, I said, don't worry about COVID, worry about the injection. Don't take the injection, whatever you do. So if I knew that in March 2020, I'm sure Trump knew that. So no, $10 billion, he put in charge of Operation Warp Speed someone who's, was head of research at a pharmaceutical company, and his his expertise was on brain-machine interface. Come on, Greg. Here's the problem. Trump, you can say Trump, was on board for a depopulation, or Trump got rolled. Either one is not a very good case to be made that he ought to be president.
Wow. I just can't believe that he would say, sure, let's kill millions of people. I just have a hard time believing that, especially when Birx writes a book.
But go back, then you're saying he's incompetent, because if I knew what I knew, don't tell me I knew more than Trump. I just don't buy that.
I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying, that's depressing, because
you got to hold people accountable. You got to tell the truth, and you got to hold people accountable. That's the only way out of this.
And Biden is a big, fat, huge, smoking, steaming bag of crap.
Here's the thing. The president is not running the situation. The president is not in charge. That's what you got to understand. And, I keep talking
explain
about...
that. The president's not... Please, so we explain that. Well, he's the president. Why isn't he in charge? But explain why...
What happened in 1963? What happened in November 1963?
Kennedy was shot in the head.
Well, the U.S. intelligence agencies and military and establishment got together and killed the president, right?
That's right.
And who controls the Secret Service, right? It's the Secretary of the Treasury and the people who run the country. So the deep state controls the Secret Service, and their guns point out and their guns point in. So, the president, in a highly centralized system, the president has very little power. Now, I've told you the red button story many, many times, but the moral of the story of the red button story, if you go to Solari or you go on the web, you can do a search for the red button story in my name and you'll pull it right up. But essentially what it says, everybody in America wants their check. And the way they get their check is to borrow more money and print more money. And so you've had a lot of popular support for the financial coup. And the reason is everybody wants their check. Now, you put the president in charge, you hit the population with massive amounts of propaganda, disinformation, entrainment. Suddenly they're screaming they want a vaccine, right? And you're Trump, and you feel cornered and squeezed by the fact that everybody wants their check. And the only way you can get their check is to be nice to the deep state and the central bankers. And the only way you can make them happy is to give them whatever the entrainment and TV has persuaded them they want.
Do you think that he art of the deal this thing, and he had a trade-off? And the trade-off was, well, you get your check, but some of you are going to die.
You know something? I have no idea what was going on. And I don't care. Because you had the president roll out something that in March 2020, I was sure was going to harm and kill millions of Americans. And he either has two reasons for doing it. He's incompetent, or he is breaking the law. Which do you want? I don't know. I wasn't there. I can't say. But I know what I knew, and I know what I hold him responsible to know, and I know what he did. And I know what I would have done. I would never, I would have taken a bullet in the head before I would implement a culling of the American population.
Of course, we have to lay some blame squarely at Biden's. You have vaxxer job and mandates and forcing this shit, which Trump wouldn't have done. That's what he says anyway. And
right, but let's back up, because
pure evil.
We're not talking about, we're talking around in a box where there are no solutions. And we have to go to where we can get power and implement real solutions.
I know
So just remember, I just want to make this clear. In October 2019, when everybody in America was being entertained by the teenage sex life of the Supreme Court nominee Kavanaugh, the House, the Senate, and the White House, Democrat and Republican, both sides of the aisle, got together and approved Statement 56 of the Federal Accounting Advisory or Standards Advisory Board, which said that they could keep secret books. That was everybody together. Okay? So there is no right versus left. There is no Trump versus Biden. There is a machine in control of a spending machine that is financed with our taxes and debt borrowed in our name that is being sold into our pension funds and into our retirement accounts. There is that machine, and that machine, to keep balancing the books, is implementing a depopulation plan. That is the reality that has to be faced, and changing the president won't matter.